at this point, one big thing I'm doing is I'm like hiring for my first like director or manager level at the company. So right now, like we have 10 full-time and maybe 10 freelancers slash contractors. So right now it's like getting to the point where I'm kind of like, I'm the bottleneck with a lot of things. So
you have 20 people working in some
20
capacity
people
at the company.
total, yeah, in some capacity.
Yeah. You have 10 full-time people.
10 full-time at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I need some kind of...
You probably need 2 managers at this point.
So I spoke to this guy named Ryan Dice, who's had like 5 exits or something. And he's friends with... He has a YouTube channel. He's wrote like many books. He runs like an entrepreneur accelerator. He's like a really successful guy. And he was telling me that there's like helpers and there's people who actually create an outcome. And he's like, you're one guy who creates an outcome with like a sea of helpers. And all these like helpers, like they can like do work, but they're not accountable for an actual outcome. You're accountable for the outcome. So you basically just tell them what to do and they do it, right? So it's like, edit this video. Okay, video's edited. Okay, edit the next video. Okay, like you have to keep telling them what to do, but they're not actually accountable towards an outcome. So at this point, I need to actually hire someone who is accountable to a real outcome, who kind of like they sit above all these helpers, and then I sit above them. So that's a big next step in the business at this point.
Do you need to hire like someone who will strategically improve the business, right? And give them like incentivize them to like create better outcomes, basically.
So
instead of like these like one-off helper guys, just do this task.
Yeah, just do this task. Okay, the task is done. Like you think it's like, what I realized is I give these guys a thing to do, but then I have to approve it when they're done. So I still have to do like every single guy is doing something. I'm still delegating and approving, right? So that's why it's still a problem. One mistake I was about to fall into is, so the way that Ali Abdal has his business set up is it's him and Angus. And Angus is kind of like the general manager, CEO, who kind of like quote unquote runs the business, and Ali kind of does his own thing. And I was going
Alex
to do that.
and Layla, if you will.
Yeah, Alex and Layla, right? So I was going to do that, right? I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do this kind of setup. I talked to Angus. He was like, yeah, you need to do this. You need to hire a general manager or kind of like head of operations guy to do all this work and stuff, right? And I actually launched the recruiting process for this role. I posted on my LinkedIn. I started like, invoking recruiting agencies that I've used in the past. And then I talked to Ryan Dice. And he sat me down and said, dude, like, this is a myth. There is no like general manager guy who can just run the whole business for you. And he goes, if there's a guy out there you could just put in there and just run the business, why would he be working for you?
Yeah.
Like, do you think you can pay some guy like $15K a month to run like $1 million plus business? Like,
yeah,
dude, nobody's going to do that. He's like, someone like that, you have to really question why they're even here. Like, it's a little bit sketchy, honestly. He's like, why is this person there? If they're actually able to do that, he said most likely you'll find someone who actually does everything kind of average or badly. And he's like, then basically what you'll do is you'll give them a bunch of stuff. They'll be okay for maybe like 3 weeks, and they'll mess something up really badly. And then you'll start undermining every single one of their decisions for about 3 to 4 months, and then you'll fire them on month 5.
Yeah.
That's what he said you'll do. He said you need to hire directors of individual areas of the business. So like a director of marketing, a director of sales, or a director of client success/fulfillment. And then those guys can actually be leaders. And then he's like, once you have a leader in each area, you have like a marketing director, a sales director, a fulfillment director, then you have a CEO who sits on top of like 5 or 6 like directors in between. And then you're able to run it. But at that point, you're doing like $10 to $20 million at least in revenue, right? He's like, you don't just find some guy, pay them like 100K, 200K a year just to like quote unquote run the business. It doesn't work like that.
Like, dude, like if a guy could run a business like that, why would they just like figure out their own business and run it?
Yeah,
right?
If someone could do lead
for
gen,
$200K a year.
Yeah, what? Like, if someone can generate leads, generate revenue, and serve the clients, why would they just do that for like 200K? Yeah, what? That makes no sense. So then I realized after talking to him, that was like a massive level up. So the role I'm hiring for is like a head of client success. So their responsibility at this point is to manage all the coaches on my team, manage the support staff, manage the operations. And they take a student from joining the program to getting their dream offer and a glowing review. Like that's what they do. They don't worry about generating revenue. They don't worry about marketing at all. That's all they do. That outcome is realistic for someone to actually do. Plus, like,
what, dude? How are you gonna find someone that can do this properly? Like,
there's a lot of people out there who have like ran student success for like ed tech companies, boot camps, college programs, etc. So one big thing I do is I use recruiting agencies. So I pay them like 25% of this person's annual salary, and they go and recruit for like 1 to 2 months for these roles, and they find a lot of great people. So that's what
they
I'm
just find the guys, and you have to interview them, right?
Yeah, so they present about 5 to 7 candidates. I interview them and talk to them and stuff, and decide which one I want to go with. Yeah. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to hire for this role. I think that'll be a lot better because I realize for me, I actually prefer the marketing and sales side of things. That's like what I like.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with fulfillment though.
Dude, I don't like it that much. That's just my personal preference. Like, obviously, I think it's good and it's like a good outcome we're creating for the people in my company, but it's not something I really love doing. Like, I love recording the YouTube videos, producing the podcasts. I love the sales side of things. I just inherently like it, but I don't like the fulfillment side. So that's like a big update. I'm hiring that director.
But also, like, if you're doing fulfillment with your time, that just doesn't scale, right? Like marketing, sales, like making those processes, marketing, working on videos, that scales. One-on-one fulfillment doesn't scale very well. It's not a good use of your time.
Yeah, like dealing with like individual students.
Yeah.
Like it's just too much for me. So that's why I'm looking for that person to go and do that.
Yeah, like you probably need this person ASAP. You probably need a head of customer success. Then you probably need like some other person to run like, I guess you can just run sales and marketing. Those are the two parts of your business: sales and marketing, and then customer success. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's the 3 parts, right? Like sales, marketing. Yeah. Essentially, sales and marketing falls under client acquisition. So it's like generating the lead and making the lead a client. And I can do that. I can do that just fine right now, at least. Now, sure, maybe down the line, I will. Once we're at doing like a lot more. At that point, I'll need like a director of marketing, someone who's essentially like because at this point we're exploring meta ads pretty soon the next month. So they'll be like managing the meta ad creative team, recording 10 new ads a month, managing like the media buyers, looking at the analytics, etc., stuff like that, generating the leads. And then there's like a sales director who like, manages the 7 to 8 salespeople, looks at their metrics, hires them, onboards them. And then there's a CEO above all those people. So, but at this point for me, like I'm fine doing the marketing and sales. It's just a fulfillment that actually is difficult for me to do.
You need also a head of program development. Like you need someone to do the R&D of making the program better and better.
Yeah. So the good news is that I already hired that role 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's good.
And this person is incredible, honestly. She has like, I don't know if it's either a master's or a PhD in like curriculum development. So she knows like, she has a degree in learning design. So she's like showing me all these theories. She literally made a Miro board with like over 100 different stickies and stuff of like every single part of the program, all of the flaws, all of the weaknesses. She read all the support tickets. She went through the whole program. She read all the community posts. She did everything. And she's like, here are the 5 or 6 areas we need to level up.
So what were the areas and did it make sense to you?
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. One, I mean, I'm not going to go into it here because it's like kind of proprietary behind the program. But essentially like, they were pretty clear that like these are things that need to be done. Now, obviously, like of the 5 or 6 areas, like I didn't think, maybe 1 to 3 of them, I was like, that's fine, let's not do that. But there were like 2 or 3 very solid things that she's going to own the execution of. So it's kind of overpowered. Like find these guys who like are world class at what they do and just put them in your organization and then just let them go.
So how did you find this head of curriculum?
Dude, the recruiters, I don't know how they do it. This guy, he probably like sat there for like 3 days and probably looked through hundreds of LinkedIn profiles. Like he all these candidates he cold outreach to, they all had jobs, dude. They didn't apply for anything.
Yeah, I'm sure there are AI tools to let them like semantic search these candidates.
Yeah, like all these things. They look at their
like I'm sure there are tools that will scrape LinkedIn. Although I think LinkedIn like bans it, but I'm sure people are doing it anyway.
Yeah.
They'll scrape LinkedIn. You type in a natural language to find me someone with this degree, this experience. It'll like kind of try to like find these guys on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of overpowered.